Welcome to the Armani Talks YouTube channel. I'm your host, Armani Talks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills in order to help you level up your way with words and become much more articulate. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to join me for a new video every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays by hitting the subscribe button right on below. Hit that bell notification and never miss another video again. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about the dark truth to loyalty. And the following talk is from my book, Charisma King, which is an ebook on social skills that will discuss the good parts and the very dark parts of human nature. If the talk resonates with you, be sure to grab a copy in the description box and the pinned comment or armanitalks.com. Without further ado, let's talk about loyalty. Formulas. Formulas are something that helps people understand the world around them. The right formula will allow a person to experience certain experiences, and they'll recall that formula to see how they should behave. If the person has the incorrect formula, then they're going to get angry and agitated by what's going on around them. If they're given the correct formula, then they are going to be composed and relaxed based off of what's going on around them. Before I give you the loyalty formula, let me give you a quick synopsis of what I mean. Listening skills. Imagine if someone gives you the formula that every single time that you're listening to someone, they're going to listen back to you with the same exact enthusiasm. You make a mental note of this formula, you feel good. So you start interacting with different people. You're talking to Jonathan. You're paying attention to Jonathan. You're listening even more. He's over here rambling about himself. And you know what they say. Whenever a person is rambling about themselves, their brain releases endorphins and they physically feel good. You're over here listening and listening away, wondering when it's going to be your turn to speak. Eventually, after some time, you're like, all right, I'm going to take the spotlight and I'm going to speak now. I've been paying attention to this idiot for the past 45 minutes. Now he should listen to me. So you're over here speaking about your day, and you notice that Jonathan's body language looks drained, looks tired. His eyes are all over the spot, indicating that he is not paying attention to you. But wait a minute. You were given the formula that when you pay attention to someone else, they're supposed to pay attention to you. And now you're seeing Jonathan's body language, and it's not matching up to your formula. So you start to feel rage. And this is what happens when you get the incorrect formula. My formula, which I bring up in the Charisma King, is just because you're listening to someone does not mean that they're listening to you. It's actually much better if you assume that most people are not listening. They're actually planning the next thing that they're going to say. They're off in la la land. They're thinking about their problems. And you should be pleasantly surprised if they actually are listening. So with this formula, nowadays, if you're looking at Jonathan's behavior, you're like, yeah, I was expecting this anyways. I would have been pleasantly surprised if he was listening, but he's not. It is what it is. Rather than being angry, you are now calm. And the same thing applies with loyalty. Where in a fantasy world, we may think that the more that we mature, the more that we trust. But in the Charisma King, I bring up the more that we mature, the less that we trust. Now, is this a pretty way to view loyalty? Probably not. It would be ideal if we could pretty much trust everyone, wouldn't it? But in the real world, that's simply not how it works. And most of the most mature people that you know, they were born through trusting too soon, and they were trusting the wrong person. And as they trusted the wrong person, they were unfortunately let down. And during that process of being let down, they learned a tough life law. Loyalty is earned. Trust is earned. And they even learned another dark life law, which is the person that pulled the snake move, the person that pretty much showed that they were not loyal, oftentimes don't think that they did anything unloyal. Think about that. That's a very profound thing to understand to begin the moving on process. So let me tell you a quick little story about what I mean. There was this one time I was at work a couple of years back, and I recall the most talkative guy was extra silent on this particular lunch day. And not only was he silent, every now and then he was getting moody too. So eventually one of the coworkers asks Jorge, that's the guy's name, "Yo, what's going on with you? Why are you acting like this for?" And that's when Jorge starts telling us a story of his wife cheating on him, but not really. So basically, long story short, the way that the story went is that his wife, as of late, has been on social media way more. And one night, when she goes to sleep, Jorge starts checking her social media, and he starts reading a bunch of messages with her ex-boyfriend. They're over here flirting, and things seem to be sparking. The same sparks that went away with her and Jorge. And somewhere in the conversation, she's pretty much planning to meet up with this guy. And on the particular day that she's supposed to meet up with him, last second, she's like, no, this isn't right. I love my husband too much. And she calls it off. So that's why Jorge at this point was pretty moody, because he didn't necessarily know what to do. He's thinking, wait, did she cheat on me or not? Now at this point, the table is polarized. Half the people are saying, oh yeah, dude, she backstabbed you. She didn't show you loyalty. I would divorce her today. While the other side of the table was like, nah, man, she didn't do anything wrong. She talked herself out of it last second. So Jorge's in this mixed position, and then he starts continuing the story even more. He says that once he confronted her, from her perspective, it's Jorge who messed up. Apparently, Jorge was so busy at work that he didn't see her for a long period of time, and what she did, the act that was not loyal, from her perspective, was a normal act. So what this whole thing went on to show was that people who often say, okay, this person did me wrong, is speaking from their perspective. But from the other person's perspective, they're often thinking, I didn't do anything wrong. So this brings me to another loyalty formula. Thus far, the first formula I gave you is that the more a mature person is born, the less they trust. But number two is that people are often loyal to themselves first. It's not like they dislike you too much. It's just that they're loyal to themselves first. And the minute that's understood, the moving on process actually begins. And the person, hopefully the mature person, who at this point is like, nah, I can't forgive them, is starting to understand a shift in thinking and understands this person was just looking out for themselves first. And that insight in itself makes the mature person even more mature. So recap. Overall, a lot of the life laws that we learn in terms of actual real-world experience is not always pretty. It would be great to see situations in an ideal light, but in the real world, it doesn't always work like that. That's called the non-linear system of human experience. One of the life laws that I pretty much brought up in today's episode was that you shouldn't expect loyalty from everyone. You should be pleasantly surprised if they give you loyalty. And ironically, this mindset allows you to appreciate loyalty more, and it allows you to weigh someone's behavior before their words alone. Another law that I gave you in terms of loyalty is that it's not like most people are looking for you to fail. They're often looking for themselves to succeed. They're loyal to themselves Therefore, the act that you considered a betrayal, oftentimes the other person considers a normal act. Soon as you internalize these two loyalty laws, what happens is now the moving on process begins and the mature person becomes even more mature. If you enjoyed today's talk and you want more of an in-depth breakdown like this into social skills, be sure to check out The Charisma King. This book will take you from A to Z, from awkward to attractive in no time. You will learn how to create small talk, how to hold conversations, and you will see the good parts and the dark parts of human nature. Grab the copy by checking out the link in the description box, the pinned comment, or go on ArmaniTalks.com. And thank you very much for joining the Armani Talks YouTube channel.